Irish Guy, and the Prem Catchup is back. Yeah, I reacted to my championship predictions yesterday, and it's fair to say most people watching nearly had a stroke. The predictions were that good that most of you watching the video probably thought you were suddenly in the cast of Bird Box, and you're now about to chuck yourselves off a balcony. Really? Am I really making references about a flash-in-the-pan Netflix film that nobody has mentioned in 4.5 years? What next? Jokes about Joe Weller? Well, lads, if you don't believe me, look at how everybody was shocked in the comments.
Who cut your hair, mate? They need criminal charges filed against them.
You can ignore that one. Who got my mama computer? But lads, here is the Prem Catchup looking at all the Premier League results from the weekend, and lads, it was insane. Actual insanity. About as insane as Hannibal Lecter biting the nose off that bloke and Mrs. Brown's boys. You just know it probably tastes like a sweaty sausage dipped in grease. Right, let's go. West Ham 1, Man United 0. I don't want to terrify Manchester United fans, but right now you should be sweating like your uncle when someone checks his internet history. Man United's away form makes me sick in my mouth. And it should do for you too. Liverpool and Manchester United are in opposite levels of form. I mean, I'm pretty sure this has never happened in the history of the sport, but Liverpool have just won their last 2 Premier League games in a row 1-0 at home, while Man United have lost 2 Premier League games 1-0 away. It is a weird symmetrical thing. A bit like a horror movie when that teenage babysitter looks in the mirror and instead of seeing her reflection, just sees some grotesque nun who's chewing off her own tongue. Man United's away form is all sorts of pathetic. Forget about the Old Trafford season ticket holders. No. Man United's best supporters are the away supporters. I mean, offer them a prawn sandwich to eat on the bus, and they'd probably slap the bread out of your hand as if you were offering them a sausage roll filled with their sister's toes. Man United away supporters are some of the best supporters in the country, and they were the ones who were subjected to that afternoon of filth when they left Anfield having seen their team lose by 7. I would imagine that slow walk out of the ground and onto the Manchester coach. That was their walk of shame. But Man United have not shown a response to their fans yet. They haven't. There's been 8 away days since that 7-0 loss. Man United have scored 5 goals across those 8 games. They weren't able to score away at Newcastle, Brighton, West Ham, Sevilla, or even at Wembley for the FA Cup semi-final. Those poor away fans have been forced to watch absolute creative sludge, as well as a goalkeeper who seems intent on showing everybody that he's about as reliable as a toilet seat made of cheese. But, I mean, brilliant showing by West Ham. They were class, but again, seeing Man United just huff and puff with, well, Weghorst wheezing out of his nose like an asthmatic wolf. Honestly, this Burnley flop is going to end the season with at least 30 games under his belt in half a season from Manchester United. It's like he won his contract in a raffle. Man United should worry because Liverpool are right behind you. I know, again, it feels like a horror film where the main character is crouching in a closet, unaware that the ghost is already nibbling on the back of their head, a bit like a brain-damaged horse. But lads, if Man United slip up twice in the last 4 games, and by slip up I simply mean lose 1 and draw 1, or even 3 draws and a win would mess them up too, and suddenly it'll be another season of Europa League football. And how quickly that narrative would change, I promise you. If Manchester United finish 5th, watching Newcastle United and the Liverpool team, who were supposed to be a laughing stock, if they both finish above you in the league, as well as the fact you're languishing 20 points behind Arsenal, Ten Hag will very quickly be viewed as a bald Dutch Ollie. Man United cannot afford to slip. This is such a tense moment. It's like looking at someone in one of those Saw films, trying to navigate his way across a jigsaw puzzle filled with broken glass, or trying to eat a bowl of cornflakes knowing full well there's a poisonous spider on the spoon. I don't want to scare you, but your fixtures are banana skins. Wolves at home. Easy, right? Is it? Because you lost this exact fixture the last time Wolves visited Old Trafford. Bournemouth away. Easy again, right? Is it? Because, again, the last time this fixture happened, you lost the last time you travelled to Bournemouth. But Chelsea at home. Nothing to fear. Yeah, Man United haven't beaten Chelsea in over 3 years. It gets worse. Chelsea have not actually lost at Old Trafford since Harry Maguire's debut, which was also Lampard's Chelsea managerial debut. It was nearly 4 years ago. Nearly 4 years without beating Chelsea at home. It was so long ago that Jose Mourinho was sitting in the punditry and trying to pick on Mason Mount. And finally, a home game with Fulham. Again, the last time Fulham travelled to Old Trafford in the Premier League, they didn't lose the game. 2 of the last 3 Premier League meetings between these 2 at Old Trafford have ended in draws. These games are 4 banana skins. The last time any of these fixtures happened in the Premier League, Man United did not win any of them. So I'm going to say this is my prediction. I think Manchester United I think he will finish 5th, and it'll be a summer of absolute crisis. And if you think it's a good thing because my predictions are so bad, I think this comment from yesterday's video might sum it up.
I'm convinced HITC was a curse because as soon as he leaves, he just becomes the psychic of the sport.
Be afraid, Man United fans. Be very afraid. As if you're watching Harry Maguire get drunk in your bath. You just know he'd do a poo in the tub. Fulham 5, Leicester 3. You see this face? It's a face of revulsion. It's a face of disgust. No, I haven't just switched on an episode of The Big Bang Theory. No, I don't have Oprah Winfrey twerking in the corner. No, I haven't just come from sniffing the bum of a pig. No, this is me looking at a former Premier League champion playing like this. I was guilty of not paying too much attention to the absolute rotten mess this club were in. Because let's be real, 1 point for the opening 7 games was alarm bells. They showed they were leakier than a punctured water balloon filled with granny piss, but I wrote it off. I never ever thought they would go down. But they have been a free fall 3 times this season. I mean, the first was at the start of the campaign, the next was December 26th to January 14th, 4 defeats in a row, and then it was 9th of February until the 15th of April. Again, 1 point from an available 27. I think we really need to reevaluate what we actually think of these players. For example, nobody has seemed to notice that Yuri Tielemans stinks of Moussa Sissoko's crotch. You know, and he downed tools in a relegation battle at Newcastle because he was so distracted by a move away. Tielemans is going to lead this club on a free. But I'm sorry, ever since that FA Cup final winner against Chelsea, white tea has been about as much use as a poisoned bag of crisps. If he gets to move to a Champions League club on a free, when he's been mentally checked out of Leicester for years, no! It'd be like rewarding Chris Brown for a lifetime of being a violent pig by suddenly crowning him king. Again, Belgians to the back vote phase earned plaudits earlier this season, but while he looks like David Luiz, he actually plays more like an incontinent grandma waddling towards the loo. Who else? Calgar Soyuncu is moving to Atletico Madrid. You just know Diego Simeone is going to push him down the stairs within 3 months. So many players have joined Atletico Madrid recently where they've done nothing to deserve such a big move. I mean, Moussa Dembele, Lucas Torreira, Matt Doherty, even Kieran Trippier didn't deserve that move. Wilfred Ndidi and Boubacar Soumar, nowhere near as good as everybody thinks. Jamie Vardy is an over-the-hill melted cheeseburger who doesn't even have the self-confidence anymore to score penalties. Honestly, it looks like he belongs on the cast of Shameless. And James Maddison, after he's rotten 6 months after the World Cup, don't be surprised if, like Jack Grealish a few years ago, he's playing championship football next season and getting punched in the face by some fat bloke from Norwich. That's no way to talk about Stevie White. Lads, is anyone really going to pay £50 million for someone who's been wobblier than Sam Smith on the dance floor? Forget Dean Smith. I've already told you this failed Norwich coach is a waste of time. But John Terry was brought in as a defensive coach. And yet, you still send out your troops to concede 5 at Fulham. A Fulham team who are supposed to be on the beach, building sandcastles, hunting for crabs, and getting whittled on by dogs. Listen, Fulham were great. And Willian spanked in 2 long-range goals, but both should have been stopped. The Leicester City board choosing to replace Kasper Schmeichel with 2 third-choice goalies. It's like a social experiment. Can a Premier League club survive relegation when they choose not to have a proper goalkeeper? It's like a Bear Grylls documentary. Can somebody survive in the woods armed with nothing but a pack of wine gums and a jar of their own wee? I have never thought that Leicester City would go down, but lads, forget whether or not they stay up. This is a team who's recently won an FA Cup and finished 5th twice, have been winning 9-0 away from home, and yet it's now actually impossible for them to reach 40 points. And I'm sorry, but that is an absolute disgrace. Brighton 1, Everton 5. What just happened? I'll tell you what just happened. Everton under Sean Dyche turned up to Brighton's ground, expecting to leave the stadium with what? 23% possession? Well, yeah, pretty much. They only had 1 corner kick to Brighton's 15, and yet still netted 5. But Roberto De Zerbi needs to stop being an overly clever dope. The guy has received praise this season, but I actually think those links to Chelsea have caused his ego to drip out of his ears, because choosing to drop Roberto Sanchez, a Spanish international goalkeeper who gets picked for his country before David De Gea, choosing to drop him in the summer for a stylish upgrade is fine, but choosing to dump him mid-season to persist with Jason Steele, it's a joke. It would be like Martin Scorsese, halfway through filming The Departed, suddenly decides to recast Leonardo DiCaprio and bring in Michael Cera. Yeah, he looks about as much of a gangster as I look like Marilyn Monroe. Steele will go down as one of the worst Premier League goalkeepers of all time. This is a 32-year-old goalie who belongs in the bottom half of the championship. Jason Steele. Jason Steele. I know Brighton have always treated their goalkeepers weird. Like when they binned off David Stockdale after he got them promoted. Like when they signed a Dutch international like Tim Krul and never played him. Like when Graham Potter weirdly banished Matt Ryan to instead focus on a former Rochdale goalie. But Jason Steele, Jason Steel. I would sooner pick the bloke off Man of Steel and stick him in the net before this. It makes about as much sense as Theo Baker somehow managing to break someone's arm. Honestly, doesn't he himself have the biceps of a Twix? Honestly, I'm sorry, but if I was down the park and gathering a bunch of people who are eating their picnics to join in and play a game of football with jumpers for goalposts, I would be more confident with a static school bag on the line than Jason Steele. This was a disaster. He was beaten at his near post twice, scored a horrible own goal where he basically kicked into his own net, and he was also put in his bum by Dwight McNeil. Oh no, seeing Steele playing Premier League football a match of the day. It's a bit like seeing that weird bloke who works down your local Chinese takeaway, suddenly seeing him belting out Elton John in an X Factor audition. Nottingham Forest 4, Southampton 3. Oh, Southampton. Oh no. They're done. They're gone. They're down. But at least they went down fighting. Sort of. Lads, this must have been a special night at the Forest ground. This must have been a huge night. Imagine those Forest fans trying to calm down after that. Try and go to sleep after that adrenaline pumping match. Nope, you'll have more chance of trying to survive a bear attack. Those Forest fans are probably still awake. Probably just spent the last 48 hours just binging Breaking Bad and trying to imagine the length of Chief Wiggum's knob. Well lads, the Forest have 3 tough games left. You're coming up against Chelsea away. I don't care how bad they've been recently. They've still got more than one £100 million player. And Forest haven't actually won a Stamford Bridge since 1995. Although weirdly, just 4 years before that, Chelsea were losing 7-0 to Forest. What? Then Forest have Arsenal at home, and then a trip to Crystal Palace, where Steve Cooper has to tackle a man twice his age. Honestly, if Forest need to win that day, Cooper should probably agree to have a pre-match meal with the opposition staff, if only so he can slip laxatives into Hudson's sausage pie. So honestly, Forest, don't lose your heads. You've got a lot of work to do. But as for Southampton, you're going to be relegated with Irish sensation and future hope Gavin Bazunu. Just what? Now a number 2 goalie at a championship club? Oh, it's hideous. Free Gavin now! Man City 2, Leeds 1. You know what? This was almost a win in the Big Sam column. You might think I'm insane. Lads, Leeds conceded 30 goals inside the last 2 months. So travelling to the best team in the world in your first match in charge and you leave with a narrow 2-1 defeat? This is encouraging. I'm sorry, but when you've got Erling Haaland trying to waste time by keeping the ball in the corner flag in injury time, then you know you've done a good job. Lads, the fact that Leeds only had 19% possession of the ball to actually lead this ground with a 2-1 loss, it's actually really good. Yes, I know Erling Haaland enraged Pep by giving his penalty to Ilkay Gundogan so he could get his hat-trick, but sorry Erling, this makes me a little sick in my mouth. This isn't a picnic, Erling, where you're happy to share your big bag of custard creams. No, this is a Premier League match, and because of your gentleman behaviour, you nearly lost your team 2 points. I remember in a League Cup final, Swansea were 3-0 up against Bradford at Wembley, and Nathan Dyer wanted to score a penalty to get his hat-trick, but no, Jonathan de Guzman was a designated taker and looked like he would sooner make love to his own mum than break protocol. I don't care if Haaland was nervous about scoring against his hometown. Does he not want to break Dixie Dean's record of 60 goals? I was led to believe that this man was obsessed with goals. That Harry Kane is a man who literally tried to rob a goal of Christian Eriksen. That is a man obsessed with goals. You think he'd ever give up a penalty? Again, he would sooner eat his own grandmother's head in a pie. Come on, Erling. This would have taken you to 36 Premier League goals, and you choose to pass up that chance. Blood, just to be Gundogan's friend? What, do you think he's gonna give you a special hug in the shower? Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2. Credit to Mikel Arteta. Do you know how easy it would have been for a demoralised Arsenal to go to St James's Park and just wilt like a burnt pancake in the microwave? Newcastle are utterly flying. The stadium is rocking. And for those Arsenal players to withstand a 10-minute onslaught as soon as the game kicked off, I mean, Man City are a winning machine. Arsenal can give their blood, sweat and tears to win all the remaining games, but it's probably not even gonna be enough. So how easy would it have been for these Arsenal players to just lack the fight to win here at this monster ground? But they didn't. They turned up and got a deserved win. And lads, this game was feisty. Since when was Arsenal versus Newcastle a bad-blooded, heated rivalry? Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3. Chelsea, you've salvaged some dignity. Fair play to them, because honestly, if they travelled to Bournemouth and lost, they would now sit 14th in the Premier League in mid-May. The screenshot of the league table alone would always tar Frank Lampard's career and future job interviews. The screenshot of Chelsea being 14th in the league for prospective interviewers. It would be a bit like them possessing a file of you chatting to 9-year-olds on the internet. There's no coming back from that, as Uncle Billy would testify. Look, Lampard shouldn't be too proud of himself. This game was 1-1 with just 7 minutes left. Benoit, Bediashile and João Felix wrapped up things late on, yes. But Christ love, Chelsea are poor. The players they chucked out onto that pitch cost a combined €808 million in transfer fees across their careers. And you needed an hour and a half, the length of the Simpsons movie, to break down little old Bournemouth. Liverpool 1, Brentford 0. They have a chance. Liverpool still have a chance. Lads, it's been a horrendous season for Liverpool. But has it though? Has it really? Because they're now just a point by Man United. Sure, they ground out a narrow 1-0 win here. Just like they snuck a 1-0 win over Fulham in the previous match. But it's another vital 3 points. Liverpool have had some horrendous patches of form. But Liverpool over the last month have been brilliant. That is now 6 wins on the bounce. People have been trying to lump them in with Chelsea as being a crisis club right now. Now, imagine telling a Liverpool fan in the summer that they would win a Premier League match by 9 goals, that they would score 7 away against the Europa League finalists, that they would take 15 points from a tough Champions League group, that they would beat Man City twice, win home and away against Tottenham, win home and away against Newcastle, record a 6-1 away win in the league. Oh yeah, and wouldn't concede a goal in either Merseyside derby. They would assume they'd go on to have a super season. So honestly, it's not as bad as it looks. Tottenham 1, Crystal Palace 0. What a dead match. I feel like I'm wasting my breath talking about it because does anyone really care? This is a classic example of a match where everyone will just forget it ever happened. But you know what this does mean? Crystal Palace have always ended the season with point totals in the 40s. Every season since they got promoted in 2013. I said before the season that they would have a points total in the 40s this time out too. And this result now means that they are physically unable to get to 50, no matter how hard they try. So guess what, lads? I was right again. Wolves 1, Aston Villa 0. Nah. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what did you make of this game week. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.